Good morning, and welcome to this candidate forum featuring candidates for Citrus Heights City Council. My name is Tricia Erhammer. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Sacramento, and I'm the moderator of today's forum. In Citrus Heights, 2 seats are available on the City Council. These are chosen at large rather than by district. Voters will have the opportunity to choose 2 candidates to fill those seats on their ballot. This forum is co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Sacramento and the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission. This forum is being viewed live by an audience here in the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors and by a live cable television audience at home. It is also being taped for future rebroadcast times on Metro Cable Channel 14. For video streaming, please visit www.sacmetrocable.tv. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization of both men and women, established to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation in government at all levels. The League does not support, oppose, or evaluate political candidates or political parties. Although our nonpartisanship policy does not permit endorsement of political candidates, we do, after very careful study, take positions on political issues. The format for today's forum will be as follows. Each candidate will have a 1-minute, 30-second opening. Next, the candidates will respond to questions from our expert media panel. The questions were submitted by the panelists and reviewed by the League of Women Voters. Each candidate will have a chance to offer a 1-minute answer to each of the questions and also a 1-minute closing at the end of the program. In the interest of time and decorum, I will ask the audience here in the Metro chambers to please hold applause until the end of today's forum. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the candidates who are running for Citrus Heights City Council. Starting on my far right, Trish Dawson. To my near right, Brett Daniels.
Good morning.
To my near left, Jeff Slowly.
Good morning.
To his left, Sue Frost.
Good morning.
And finally, to my far left, Jim Monteaton.
Good morning.
Sitting on our media panel this morning of questionnaires are our own Lola Acosta from the League of Women Voters.
Good morning.
And Jared Goyette from the Sacramento Press.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us and giving your time for this morning. And now it is time to move to opening statements. The candidates have drawn cards for the order of these statements, and we will begin with Trish Dawson.
Good morning. I guess I missed my cue. My name is Trish Dawson, and I'm running for Citrus Heights City Council. Citrus Heights is on the right track. I will increase momentum with the City Hall by safeguarding our budget surplus, increasing our partnership with local businesses, and protecting our neighborhoods from crime and drugs. I've gained my understanding of the city by living here continuously for 26 years. I participated in numerous visioning sessions, the Blueprint series for Auburn Boulevard, Sunrise Marketplace, and the newest endeavor is our Antelope Crossing Business Association. I was a member of the Citrus Heights Community Center Advisory Committee, and with that experience, I also participated in the design and construction of the new community center that we all enjoy. I'm a graduate of Leadership Citrus Heights and a 13-year member of the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce. There we go. In 2007, I was voted as the most important business asset to the community. In 2010, I was the chamber president. I really think the city has had a great start, and there's unfinished business. There was visions that the original city council put together that we need to complete. The Auburn Boulevard project is underway, but we need to complete that, and we need to find some new catalysts to get that project completed.
Thank you very much. Brett Daniels.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having us here. My name is Brett Daniels, and I'm running for City Council. I first moved to Citrus Heights approximately 40 years ago. It is my place, it is my city, and my children live there. I've gone to school there, and it is my home. I think that's very important. My background is in law enforcement. I have about 27 years of law enforcement and public safety experience. I think that's important to have on the council. Additionally, I was on the council from 1999 to 2005 and the mayor in 2005. And I think that's important for some of the things that are going on right now to have that experience on the council. In my off-duty time, I'll say, I give back to the community. It's ranged from being a PTA president, a Little League coach, to today I am a founding member and board secretary for an organization called Badges Supporting Fallen Officers' Families. We strive to provide immediate financial support to the survivors of law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty throughout the nation. And I'm a founding member and the board president of Toys for the Troops Kids, where we supply toys during Christmas time to the kids of our deployed troops. I think that's important to show that you're involved in the community too. My campaign is about 4 things: enhancing public safety, removing obstacles to development, opposing any effort to raise your taxes, and improving the quality of life. I hope we have questions today that'll allow me to expound on that, and I look forward to this forum.
Thank you very much. Jeff Slowly.
Good morning, and thank you. First of all, again, thank you to the League of Women Voters, and thank you to Metro Cable for hosting this, and more importantly, our moderators. I know you gave up a nice Saturday to be here, so welcome. I'm the only incumbent running. I've sat on the City Council since 2003, was your mayor in 2007, and currently the mayor in 2012. I'm very proud of my 9-year tenure on the City Council, and I would personally put my record up against anybody in elected office in Northern California, including state offices. We are a city with no debt. We have money in the bank, and we successfully have managed to create budgets that are balanced and end up in the black for 15 years in a row. Having said that, times are slightly changing. The state is imposing new restriction on us. They've taken redevelopment from us. They've imposed some challenges, shall we say, with law enforcement around AB 109. And while I've had a good 9-year run, again, I think there's some things that still need to be done. I'm here to run for 1 more term and 1 more term only. So I hope in the next 4 years, if you'll re-elect me, to complete my mission for enhancing our infrastructure and building up our law enforcement so they can tackle this new problem that the state's pushed against us. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue Frost.
Good morning, and thank you to the Women's League of Voters for hosting this forum and for inviting us to participate. I'm the business and the people's candidate. I grew up in Citrus Heights. I live and work in Citrus Heights. I've been a business owner for 29 years. And over that time, I've employed hundreds of families, and I know how to create jobs. I've also been well acquainted with the challenges that small business owners face. I know how to stimulate business. I know how to balance a budget in good times and in bad. I've served on multiple boards, for-profit and nonprofit. I've also been involved and engaged in my community as the vice president of my neighborhood association, Birdcage Heights, and also as the founding president of the Citrus Heights Green Team, which is a soon-to-be 501c3. I am passionate about 3 goals. If I am elected, I want to continue the fiscally responsible leadership. I also support our local police, safe and secure neighborhoods, and local growth and opportunity. Citrus Heights is probably one of the only cities in California that can say that they have balanced their budget, they are debt-free, and they have money in the bank. I want to be one of the third generation of sensible leaders in Citrus Heights. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final opening statement, Jim Monteaton.
Thank you very much for having us here this morning. My name is Jim Monteaton, and for about 40 years I spent in the business world and developing a career and raising a family. Left very little time to be involved with city government or county government. However, when I retired, I decided that I would spend as much energy and effort in developing a better understanding of the government of the city that I live in and have retired in. I've lived in Citrus Heights for over 16 years, and presently, or actually when I first retired, I signed up and volunteered for the Sacramento County Grand Jury. I spent 3 years on the Grand Jury. After that, I was appointed to the Citrus Heights Planning Commission, which I'm still on and am the chairman of. I am the president of my neighborhood association, Area 7-8, which is up in the northeast corner of the city. I was appointed by Roberta McClatchin to the Sylvan Cemetery Board of Trustees, which is a special district here in Sacramento County. I also, after retiring, my wife decided to start a company. So the two of us own a small business, an insurance company that's based in Citrus Heights and does business in 22 states. It is my desire to be a member of the City Council so that I can help set goals, help build standards for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move to our question and answer portion of our program. I would like to remind voters that there are two other candidates on this ballot, David Blackburn and Charles Stone, who are not here with us today. Lola, would you please ask the first question and direct it first to Trish Dawson?
Certainly. Citrus Heights is well known for its fiscal responsibility. Now the state has reduced or eliminated funds for redevelopment and the gas tax. Considering the loss of these resources, what are your plans for economic development for the city?
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here. The reduction of the redevelopment money and the gas tax has really hit us hard. We had a number of projects in the works. What I would like to promote is business in Citrus Heights. 37% of our annual budget comes from local sales tax. So the way to continue on the right track is to help our businesses thrive. We have a number of vacancies. I think we need to have a much stronger direction from City Council. When you look at the council's goals for this next 6 months, business isn't even mentioned in those goals. I want to bring business back into the forefront of the community.
Thank you. Brett?
Well, this is a great question because it's so vital to what's going on in Citrus Heights right now. The short answer is what you don't do is raise taxes. Right now, the citizens of Citrus Heights pretty much don't understand how we're funded, and we're funded through the sales tax, and we need to concentrate on that. We need to do everything we can to get out of the way of our businesses so they can thrive. I call for a moratorium on any fees that go towards any kind of redevelopment or establishing a business in Citrus Heights. Let's do what we can to get out of the way. Let's not take their money. We'll get it back in the sales tax increase. So that's very important. We have to make sure our city is desirable. We need to keep it a little cleaner. We don't do anything necessarily on the beautification side. So we build these wonderful medians and everything looks nice, and then we just let them deteriorate. We need to concentrate on more on that too, so that our city looks like a place where people want to come in and shop and play and live. So concentrating on doing what we can do to remove those obstacles, I think, is the most important thing.
Thank you, Brett. Jeff?
Thank you. You know, I think this question plays right into exactly what the city's trying to do. Number one, our number one priority in our 6-month goals is to develop an economic stimulus or economic revitalization plan. We're going to unveil part of that on October 25th. Secondly, you have to have a safe community for people to want to come in and shop, move into, or come to businesses, or more importantly, even new businesses to move into. Measure K will support that by improving the roads and adding additional police. You know, the key is less government, and we are looking at ways to reduce fees. Unfortunately, not all the fees we charge go to the city. Many of them come downtown. So saying we're not going to charge fees doesn't make sense because we can't waive other people's fees. We can certainly look at our own. We have some great businesses. We need to assist them to expand, and I think we're doing a good job. We can do a little better, and if you hold on to October, we'll give you some ideas on how we're going to do that.
Thank you. Sue?
With the demise of the redevelopment agency and the loss of those funds, I'm sure Citrus Heights will probably have to revisit extra costs that's going to have to be included in their budget for the year. And so that's going to affect our city. We definitely need more jobs. We've lost revenues in other areas, and in spite of the fact that most of our revenues come from retail sales tax, we still have lost revenues there, and our city is an aging community. I think to aggressively apply for grants, go after block grants, every type of funding for special projects that we can. Also allocate money out of our fund, out of our general fund, and out of our budget to save, like we did with our community center. We saved for 10 years and we built a community center that's revenue generating. So Citrus Heights has shown that they know how to manage their money and they can save money for projects. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jim?
Yeah, redevelopment, by it going away, it's really devastating to the city. Our community, although it's only 15 years old, is really more like 90 or 100 years as a community, and has a lot of aging infrastructure that was being addressed through the redevelopment. Without that, we have to concentrate more on where our spending is and what our spending is all about. We have to make sure that we continue to make it favorable for new businesses to move in, but not only just businesses. We need to have a focus on businesses that draw other businesses. We want to make sure that we continue to grow and continue to bring the types of business that are good for the city, that are good for the residents, and that will continue to bring in more money. We do not receive our property taxes until 2022, and therefore we have to create new programs.
Thank you. Jared, would you please ask the next question first to Brett Daniels?
Hi, Brett. You all spoke of your experiences in your opening. I'd like to know, if elected, what would be your top priorities and how would you pursue them on the council?
Our number one job is to provide public safety. We need to make sure that we have a police department that reflects the goals of the City Council. So I think we need to be a little bit more intimately involved with the direction of the police department. That does not translate into running the police department. That's something much different. But I think that it's important for us as the council to meet regularly with the chief, and the commanders, and make sure that they understand the philosophy of what we're looking for in our city. I think overall we have a great police department, but I think that there's some areas that the public would prefer we focus on, such as seeing more officers in our neighborhoods and things like that. It is wonderful. It is the reason we became a city, and so we need to make sure that it's operating the way we want it to do. The second thing is, again, going back to the economic development. We must figure out ways to stimulate our area. And we can only do so much with that. And again, eliminating fees and stuff like that create blocks to redevelopment and opening businesses, just getting out there and then educating our citizens about the importance of the sales tax and why they need to shop in Citrus Heights.
Thank you. Jeff?
Yeah, thank you. I 100% agree with Mr. Daniels. He hit it right on the head. Number one priority should be and will continue to be public safety and how to support them. Right now, I think they do a bang-up job. For 6 years running, they have reduced crime year over year. Unfortunately, this being the 7th year, crime has begun to creep up, come back into the city, primarily due to some of the state issues that they've pushed down to us. Secondly, economic development, economic stimulus is at the top of the list. We've done a pretty good job up to now, quite frankly, because of redevelopment and other sources of income. With those disappearing, we need to take a step back and prioritize how we're going to spend our money. But that isn't necessarily a free giveaway, if you will. We have to have a concrete plan to offer things up where we can see incremental sales tax growth, incremental job growth, and the businesses that want to come in or expand have to be a partnership with that. And we look forward to doing that in the very near future.
Thank you. Sue?
I think it's really, my top priorities are fiscally responsible leadership. I want to continue the fiscal discipline of the past. I think now more than ever, with all the takeaways from the state and transportation and redevelopment, we have to be very careful in the way we manage our dollar, the people's dollars. My second priority is to support our local police. The foundation of economic development is safe and secure neighborhoods, roads that are in good repair, infrastructure that's revitalized periodically so that we're growing, because anything that's not growing is stagnant. We're an aging community, and it would be great if we could bring some young families to Citrus Heights. So I think it's also important for us to focus on bringing jobs that bring young people the young people are the ones that spend money, and our income is retail. So I think the ages 20 to 40 would be a great demographic to bring into Citrus Heights if we can find jobs that will bring people to Citrus Heights. That would be the end of my statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
Yeah, we have to really remember that it's a city full of residents as well as businesses, so we have to be able to focus on both. If we don't track the dollar, if we don't make sure that we're spending the money right, then we're going to do a disservice to both of those parts of the community. Without managing the dollar, we're going to be in a position where we won't be able to support the police as well as we are. We have a fine police department. They work extra hard. I want to make sure that we continue to support them, but we have to continue to manage that dollar. That's the most important thing. We have to understand too that we want to make sure that we do proceed with economic development and not just economic growth. Time and time again, we fill in blanks, we fill in empty storefronts, but that's more of a growth thing. That's more of an increase in revenue, but that's not true economic development. We have to make sure that we're developing along the lines of some goal, some direction, some focus that we're going to bring the city, and it's the way the city wants to go.
Thank you. And Trish?
Well, Citrus Heights can't afford a bad reputation. We need to really maintain our high levels of police and fire protection, create fallback programs for fixing the streets and increasing the police staffing. I really believe in the schools in our neighborhoods, in our community. Measure N is a San Juan School District measure that would create jobs, not only help our schools, our aging schools that are deteriorating, and with the infrastructures that we have in place like San Juan High School's been in place for almost 100 years. So I support the school programs. Not only will Measure N help schools, but it will also create jobs, which is what we're looking at, the demographics of the working community. So I would like to see the schools improve so that we bring in the people that we need to help boost our economy.
Thank you. Lola, would you please direct the next question to Jeff Slowly?
Certainly. Jeff, following up on the conversation that we've been having, I'd like to ask the following question. Residential properties under foreclosure often become eyesores, which can lower the value of neighboring homes. What, if anything, can or should the city do to reduce blight?
Great question. Citrus Heights has over 84,000 residents, approximately 43,000 structures. I'm You know, on one hand, I'm happy to say this number. On the other hand, I'm unhappy because it's still 813 folks or houses or units that are currently in foreclosure or in the process of being vacated. You know, it's tough economic times. We have a neighborhood enhancement group that goes out and checks these properties. We actively pursue reaching out to the lenders, if you will, to you know, keep them up. It's a tough problem, but at the same time, you know, we're asking neighbors next door to these properties to assist. You know, I don't want to, you know, tell somebody you have to go mow your neighbor's lawn, but you know, if they're next to and it's in foreclosure, feel free. I do that to a house around the corner from me. So the numbers aren't great, but on the other hand, they're not bad for a city. So I'm happy with currently what we're doing.
Thank you. Sue?
I've lived next door to a home that was, the grass was growing tall and dying, and it's no fun. It is strange times that we find ourselves in. And a big part of what's happening in my neighborhood is that the neighborhoods are, the neighbors are pitching in, and we're going over and mowing the lawn and raking the leaves and cleaning up. I know that the city has set up services with code enforcement. If there are people who see a home that is, you know, in disrepair or is offensive to the neighborhood, they can leave a message with the police who manages our code enforcement after hours, and or they can go online and fill out a form, and then the code enforcement will go out. They'll send an officer out, and he will determine if there's a problem there that is a violation. If there is, they have 10 days to fix it. So we have the,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, we're out of time on that. Jim?
Well, two of the problems, the biggest problems, are weeds, overgrowth of shrubs on the properties, and also people that own pools that when they left, they didn't bother to do anything with those pools, and they're turning green. And everybody knows about the West Nile virus and the mosquitoes in this area. So we have to make sure that those are the two priorities that we try to work on as part of the planning. Code enforcement is a good start. They do go out, they look at it, they contact the owners. If the owners do not comply within a certain amount of time, the city right now is able to step in from Department of General Services. They will send someone from their staff out there to take care of the weed population so we don't have to worry about fire hazards. It also cleans up the front by just taking those weeds down. The second thing is the pool, and there are ways to get in there to either put feeder fish in some pools or try to take care of the cleaning of the pools and draining them. Thank you.
Thank you. Trish?
Well, we're a community of basically the working poor. We have a tough time maintaining our homes and paying our electric bills. What I'd like to see is some kind of program that could help our neighbors possibly supply paint and so that they could do the work themselves. I think that there's ways that we can help our community without a great expense to the city, and I'd like to pursue some of those thoughts in that direction.
Thank you. Brett?
Thanks. This is a great question. It's a big problem in our city, big problem. And I think what needs to be understood is the community will reflect what it'll tolerate. And so the community needs to not tolerate this and work better, I think, and closer with the city, contact the city when they see these problems, take action themselves. I mean, I love the fact that some of the candidates have said they go right over and just mow the lawn. That's the way to take care of it. I think that if you sit back and just allow it to occur, all you will do is reinforce it and make things worse. Another part of this, though, that is a big problem is these scavengers that are going around to these homes that are empty and stripping them of coppers and stuff like that, just creating a bigger problem. This happened right across from my daughter's house. She called for a police response, and unfortunately it was very extended. And so I think our city needs to jump on these things better too. And so more direct involvement, and it'll go towards a whole reflection of the city and what people will and will not tolerate.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. Jared, if you would please direct the question to Sue.
Sue. The city has placed Measure K on the November ballot. It's come up a few times during this discussion. The measure would temporarily increase the utility user tax by 1.75% for 2 years for the following purposes: additional police officers, programs to prevent youth crime, police equipment and technology, and resurfacing city streets. What is your position on this measure? And if it should fail, how would you deal with these issues?
I support yes on Measure K. The reason I support yes is because it is a solution that will help us during a time when we have lost revenues, a great deal of revenues from our general fund, transportation, redevelopment. We've lost money from our investments because interest rates are down. We've lost revenues from licensing and from retail. Measure K costs each citizen approximately $5 per household, and it will fix 612 streets. What I would do if it doesn't pass is I think the city would still want to progress in trying to draw down some funds to fix some of the streets. We won't be able to fix as many. Instead of 612 streets, it'll be significantly less, but our streets are 20 years old and we need to repair them, and we do have issues with AB 109 and the prison realignment, which is going to bring criminals into our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
I'm supporting Measure K. I believe that I've looked at it, studied it. I think it's probably one of the best solutions that we could come up with at this particular point. We want to get ahead of the curve. We don't want to be a city that all of a sudden finds itself going bankrupt. So we're trying to head off some of that and still at the same time bring the streets up to a certain level, which will continue to attract business and attract residents to move here. Some of the streets are in such bad repair that they're actually unsafe. We will be still repairing them, but we're going to be doing it at a lot slower pace if Measure K does not pass. The other part of that is in support of in support of the police department so that they can continue to do the fine work that they're doing, and we can continue to manage what the state has put upon us with the introduction of AB 109.
Thank you. Trish?
Well, I've come out in support of Measure K, and since coming out in support, I understand that it may not be the favored action that's happening right now. What I would say is that what's great about Measure K is that it targets a specific area that we want to improve, like police services and road improvements. So I support that it's a 10-year measure. It falls off when we start getting our property tax revenues that will backfill the cost of that. I also, as a citizen, as a person who lives here, I'm willing to invest in my community. I'm willing to put in the money that's going to increase my property values with better police services and better roads.
Thank you. Brett?
Well, it's impossible to answer this in a minute, but I'm the only candidate opposing Measure K. As Sue Frost said, it's a solution, but what she didn't say is that it's the easy solution. We haven't looked at alternatives at all. The city has spent tons of money coming out in all the neighborhoods and telling us why we should support Measure K without telling us what their alternatives would be if it failed, and I believe it will fail. I have alternatives, and I think they can be easily put in place to do the same thing, to get the same results, and without any cost. It's very easy for us to just take our officers that are currently in the department and have them track the 109s that come into the community. The city has been, I think, somewhat nefarious in not telling people that 2 folks from probation will be assigned to cover these guys in Citrus Heights. In the past, we have 150 parolees now that were covered by 2 parole officers. Now we will have 55 what are considered lower status type releases that will be covered by 2 probation officers. So it's not needed for that sense, but if we want to do these things, we do have some money and we should look at spending it from there.
Thank you. Jack?
Well, thank you. It's only fitting that I end the discussion on this. Obviously, I support it because I was one of the 4 who voted to put it on the ballot. Regardless of my stance, we put it on the ballot to give the citizens a right to say. We put it on at 2/3 because we want this money targeted for exactly what we say it's going for. We've put a sunset clause on it at 10 years to coincide when we get with our taxes that will, take over this, if you will. I would disagree that this is not the easy solution. This is the tough solution. It's tough to get folks to increase their taxes, but I think it's the right move. We want to be proactive. We're a leader in the community. We're a leader in the state as a city, and we want to keep that position and keep our streets and police force. As far as what's the alternative, I'm not willing to say that this is going to lose, so I hesitate to say that. But we have committed $10 million to Measure K, and if it doesn't pass, that $10 million will still be committed, but it'll be committed differently between streets and police. Thank you.
Thank you. Lola, will you please direct the next question to Jim?
Certainly. We've talked a little bit about the impact of losing the redevelopment funds and the gas tax, and some of the candidates have mentioned in passing Assembly Bill 109. I'd like to focus on that for a little bit for my next question, also known as the Prison Realignment Program, which sends prison inmates deemed low-level offenders back to their home counties. How does this program affect overall crime problems in Citrus Heights? Is there adequate supervision for these individuals? And what more can be done to keep neighborhoods and businesses safe and secure in the city? Jim?
Well, AB 109, first of all, it's not the low-end offenders. It happens to be the last time they offended, and whatever that was, and that could possibly be one of those smaller or lesser crimes. We're getting a lot of variety of criminals back on the street. I think some of the national statistics will prove out that about 70% of criminals that get back on the street will reoffend. That means they're reoffending, and if they're in our neighborhood, that's part of the big problem. Is we're now starting to see some increase in robberies and other assaults, and it's serious because there is no additional funding to the cities. Whatever funding was turned loose by the county goes to the county, or rather from the state goes to the county. Nothing is coming down to the city for additional officers, additional equipment, nothing extra, and this is something that has to be addressed.
Thank you. Trish?
Well, my big concern is not high-level criminals, but the drug use that is pervasive in our community. And part of that is that when you get out of prison and you get a new lease on life and you can't find a job, you just fall back into the same pattern. I really would like to see, with the promotion of business in the community, providing jobs so that people can get out of that cycle of abuse and get back into the workforce and become productive citizens. So 109 has definitely put a burden on the city, and I think that we've done a good job so far handling it. If Measure K doesn't pass, I'm sure that this city is going to look at their budget and find ways that we can help the situation.
Thank you. Brett?
Well, what the state has done to the cities is unconscionable. This is a responsibility of the state, and they continue to do what they do, and we continue to allow them to get away with what they do. That being said, the dirty little secret here is that, again, if Mr. Monteaton was so concerned about it and that it needed to be addressed, where have we been the last 15 years when 150 people have been on parole in our city and 2 parole agents have been assigned to look after them? So we're all of a sudden getting a lot of misinformation. After 1 year, the term being used for the recidivism on these folks is it's in rare instances. That's the term being used right now for these guys. We're not at 70%. Sacramento County has never been at 70%. The recidivism is very demographic to the criminals and where they live and what they participate in. So we need to address it, no doubt about it, but we can address it again by assigning our own officers to cover these guys. There's 55, we have that many more officers and more, and so we can easily keep an eye on them by using our current resources without asking people to pay more money for additional officers for this purpose.
Thank you. Jeff?
Yeah, thank you. I agree somewhat with Brett in the sense that it's unconscionable what this state has done. I mean, you don't manage sentencing guidelines with budgetary constraints. I'm going to stick with the 70% recidivism rate. That's a federal statistic. Sacramento, while it may vary. But let's talk some concrete numbers in Citrus Heights. We have 650 verified gang members, 100 probationers, 1,100 parolees, pardon me, 55 AB 109ers, but that's 55 in a year. There's 38,000 prisoners that are being forced out of incarceration. 1,000 of them have gone to the county in the last year, and of that, we've got 55. I think if we add additional burdens to our current officers, you're going to see delayed response times to other more important aspects. So my solution, again, through Measure K, is to put some people specifically in charge of AB 109ers plus those other categories I stated. I think in the long run, that's going to go a lot to protecting our citizens and making it a better place to live and work.
Thank you. Sue?
I have to credit our city leaders for making the decision about 6 years ago to form our own full-service police department. We're very fortunate. While other cities around us are cutting back on their police and closing their community centers because they can't afford them, we are proactively looking at ways that we can grow our police and protect our neighborhoods. The AB 109 does add crime in our, already has increased crime in our city, that there is crime passing through our city, and they're 109ers that are offending. I'm understanding that there is a 70% recidivism rate, and that our vehicle thefts are up more than double. I think it's somewhere above 70%. I think the Measure K is a great solution because what it does is it proactively says, make our day. Just try to come to our city and be comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to use all the time we can get in this forum, and we're going to get one more question out of this. So Jared, if you would please direct that to Trish Dawson.
Trish, the need to bring jobs to the city has come up repeatedly. It's at the forefront of this discussion. What specifically can be done to help small businesses that are in the community now and to encourage other ones to come?
Well, as a past president of the Chamber of Commerce, I'm well aware of the challenges that small businesses have. What Brett brought up at the last forum, and what is really vitally important, is that we need to advertise that our sales tax stays in our city. And so with that sales tax, the city is then able to sponsor and promote activities in the city. So a good example is Sunrise Marketplace, where with the organization, the business organization that started, they're able to get their money together, and they promote their area through the tennis matches and entertainment venues. I'd like to see that spread beyond Sunrise Marketplace. How can the Auburn Boulevard small businesses are joining together in a business district? The Antelope Crossing has established a business association, and they're working with the city on a visioning for revitalizing that area. I think it's just been a fantastic testament to how the city and the business community work together.
Thank you. Brett?
Well, I would agree with Trish that what I said was good, so that was nice. No, you know, it's so true. It's so true, and it just baffles me. You know, 15 years, 16 years into cityhood, and I can guarantee you that the majority of citizens in Citrus Heights do not understand that if they spend their dollars in our city, that stays in our city. That's critical to what we are in Citrus Heights. We are a sales tax-driven city. We don't get our property taxes for another 5 years. So that's imperative that we make them understand that. But let me tell you what you don't do, is you don't raise taxes. My girlfriend has a small business that she opened up 1.5 years ago. She hasn't made a penny yet. Everything goes back into her business. I talked to a gal while hanging up signs last night that just opened up a restaurant over at Sunrise in Antelope. And she didn't know how she was going to make payroll this next time around. She's so concerned about any kind of increase that even this, what we keep wanting to call small increase, is going to burden her. So we need to not do that. We need to stay out of the way of these businesses and not continue to set them up for failure.
Thank you. Jeff?
You know, the question's about jobs, and I agree that, you know, that's an important aspect. I agree with Sue in terms of sales tax. But let me tell you what I've personally done in terms of jobs. We have 2 current businesses in town who are looking to co-locate, thereby increasing not only their business, but by adding 100 new employees. I've personally talked to state regulators on their behalf, as well as the police chief, telling them that the city supports their business. We don't have any issues with them, and we would love to see them co-locate. Secondly, we have a major corporation that would like to come to town and build a 3-story building in town, as well as bring 175 high-paying jobs. Because this is the political season, we asked them to defer bringing that public until after the November election. But I guarantee you, win, lose, or draw, that proposition is going to come forward. There will be new jobs in the city. And if we make the right decision, we're currently looking at assisting them with some of their fees to get the initial groundwork going. I think it's going to be a good move for the city. Again, 175 new jobs.
Thank you. Sue?
I think the first thing that the city can do to encourage jobs is to do our job. So trying not to overregulate, trying to set policies that are affordable for business owners, being flexible in looking back at our zoning and our regulations to revisit them and see if they're still current. Cities that invest in themselves have a tendency to draw businesses. So I think Measure K goes a long way to increasing the quality of our city by making sure that we don't have crime, that our business owners will feel that, and the people that live in our city will feel safe. The other thing we can do is this chamber did an effort in 2008 or 2000, I think it was 2008. It was a Shop Citrus Heights. It was an educational program that encouraged people and taught people about how when you shop in your own city, you're actually supporting your own community.
Thank you. Jim?
Yeah, I'd like to see some work between the city and the chamber and perhaps the high schools. Let's start early with some of the young people that are growing up in our cities to make them, again, understand that we're driven by sales tax and to try to keep everybody to the point where they are shopping in Citrus Heights. The other thing is I would like to see more businesses, as I said earlier, that come in as kind of a hook, that kind of, because of one business, they draw other business. A good example was the marketplace when they brought in the Capitals. The Capitals during that period of time, and also during the time of the music concerts, the revenue at Macy's went up, which was kind of interesting. Also, the revenue obviously at restaurants and local places that people would go to before or after an event. Those are the kinds of businesses will be drawn by other larger businesses. So we have to focus on that type of a partnership.
Thank you. We now move to closing statements, and again, we'll start with Trish Dawson.
Well, I really want to thank everybody for, and especially the League of Women Voters, for holding this forum. It's been a wonderful experience. I want to really express how hard I've been working in the community for the last 15 years. I may not be in a public eye, but I've participated not only in the family level, where I was involved at Woodside School with the site council, with the PTO, I was PTO president, but while in conjunction with working hard for my family, I was also working hard for the business community with the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce, being their vice president of economic development, the president. I have shown that I have qualities of leadership and vision and talent. I'm committed to the community and am firmly rooted as a parent, a homeowner, a taxpayer, and a business leader. I'm honest as the day long. I'm hardworking, willing to put in the time to be effective. I'm dedicated to serving our community. I'm not a politician looking for a stepping stone, and I can get things done.
Thank you. Brett Daniels.
Thanks. Yeah, a big thanks to the League. You know, this is probably the only opportunity the citizens will get to see us all together in one spot going back and forth, and so it's a great opportunity. I think you saw today that a lot of us are alike. Most of the things that we believe in, we share. There are some slight differences, and so I would just encourage you to get more education on us. We all have websites, I believe. We all have Facebook pages. So go to those things and learn more and make an informed decision. I think ultimately I'm about keeping our promise to the citizens of Citrus Heights. When we became a city, we promised the citizens that would mean no tax increases. And here we are 15 years later with $33 million in the bank in reserve, and we want to ask them to raise their taxes. I just can't go along with that, and so I think that is one major difference with us. Again, my campaign is about enhancing public safety, removing obstacles to development, opposing any effort to raise your taxes, and improving your quality of life. I ask for your vote, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Slowly.
Thank you, and I would also like to express my thanks not only to the League of Women Voters, but to our two moderators who are here, as well as the few members of the audience, but more importantly, the television audience out there on Metro Cable. You know, I stated earlier that I've been on the council since 2003. I am very proud of my tenure for this city. We are the leading city in the state for many things. Many folks come to us and ask us how we've done it and how they can do it as well. I tell them it's pretty simple. You think with an honest heart, you do what's best for the citizens of the community, and you know, fiscally spend your money wisely. Don't just throw it away. To me, it's pretty simple come November 6th. You've got two votes, obviously, one for me, one for one of the four other candidates here. I do want to mention that one of the candidates, Charles Stone, was unable to be here. So as Brett said, go out, take a look at us, look at our websites, look at everything about us, and make your choices. You get two choices, one for me, one for the other people sitting here. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue Frost.
Thank you very much for hosting this forum. I knew right away when I decided to run for city council that I needed to go to the people. I've walked up to 1,300 homes, and I've shared my vision, and I've listened and learned from the people. Don't be surprised if you see me knocking on your door in the next couple weeks, because I'll be doing some more walking. I am endorsed by Roberta McGlashan, Sacramento County Supervisor, Scott Jones, Sacramento County Sheriff, the entire sitting Citrus Heights City Council, John McGinnis, former Sacramento County Sheriff, James Shelby, former Mayor of Citrus Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce PAC, Sacramento Area Firefighters, Sacramento Deputy Sheriff's Association, Safe Credit Union, Regional Builders, Inc., Sacramento Association of Realtors, Sacramento Metro Chamber of Commerce PAC, and the Sacramento Bee. Tonight, I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And the final word, Jim Montegan.
I've spent the better part of the last 7 years being involved in the city, not just looking out from the outside. The last 4 years on the Planning Commission, a couple of years on the Sylvan Cemetery Board of Trustees. I've been president of my neighborhood association. I'm an active member with the REACH organization, which is the parent company of the neighborhood associations. So I have actively been involved in attending meetings around the city, meeting with people, people within the residential community as well as the business community. I am a business owner within the community. I have spent all of this time because it's important to me, and I feel good with all that I have done and all that I have been involved in. And I want to continue that. And as I said before, I want to get on the on the city council because it is the place to set the goals and the standards for this city for the future.
Thank you. And that concludes the question and answer and closing statement portion of this forum. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Sacramento and the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission, I thank the candidates and our panelists for participating. I would also like to take the chance to thank the many volunteers who made this forum possible today. I would like to just have a chance to thank each of the candidates one more time and perhaps get the television camera on them. So Trish Dawson.
Thank you for having me.
Brett Daniels.
Thank you very much.
Jeff Slowly.
And thank you, Trish, for the job you're doing today.
Thank you. Sue Frost.
Thank you for having me.
And Jim Montedon.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank our panelists asking the questions, Lola Acosta and Jared Goyette. This forum has been designed to impart to you, the voter, in accordance with our belief that a democratic government depends upon the informed and active participation in government. We hope that this forum helped you gain more information and that you will cast 2 informed votes for this particular office on November 6th. For voter information and rebroadcast times, please visit our Smart Voter website at www.smartvoter.org or the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County website at www.lwvsacramento.org. The League welcomes both men and women as members, and we really stand for working to safeguard democracy through active and informed citizens. Please remember to vote on November 6th. Polls will close at 8 p.m. that day, and help make this democracy work. Thank you.